Well, just a minute.
Here we go.
God dang it.
Letting her roll.
Just a minute. No, I have to get back to something here on the pewter.
December 9th.
December 9. I'm going to give you the whole deal here anytime. Fratelloni's Ace Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 515, December 9th, 2020. 58 degrees was the high on this day, and that occurred in 1939. Man, they had some beautiful warm weather in 1939 at this time of year. And, wow, 27 below in 1876.
And now, from the mayor's office, above the boathouse, on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic, with Rookie on production, Chris Reavers, director of social media, John Hyde in the newsroom, and occasionally Kenny from the Krabby Coffee Shop. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
May I say that yesterday, Kenny in particular, had great sport with me because I did not know the term cheater, which is a 3-prong plug that uses 2 prongs to plug into a 2-prong outlet.
There you go.
Right. And I got a great note from Derek who writes, Joe, I've never heard the term cheater for the mentioned plug either. Just for context, I'm 46 years old with a CI of 67.
Wow.
It's different every time I tally it up. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for corroborating that I knew perfectly well what it is once you described it to me. I just didn't know it was called
What did you call it? What did you call it?
Yeah.
Thing. I need one of those things.
I need a hatchet.
I need a hatchet.
But it's not a specialty tool like a Canuter valve regrinder deal. It's a cheater.
Right.
I understand.
I don't know.
I had to pound in some boards.
And then he always uses the word board.
He does.
I after the show yesterday, I looked through my tool chest, and I got about 5 of them sitting around. You acquire them over your life.
This weighed heavy on your mind, evidently.
I got to look through my stuff. Had a big day yesterday, huh?
I'm going to rush home and take a picture of all my cheaters and post it to Twitter.
Oh, I got a drawer full of them.
Oh, yeah.
Are you aware of did you see any video on any of the local news stations last night of the way the lakes have frozen in the BWC, BWA, BWB, DDDD, MP, R, WCB, do, re, me?
I did, yeah.
Doesn't that make you want to get your skates and get your ass up there?
It does, and I was walking on a lake actually not even an hour ago, and yeah, Joe, it's perfect. It's amazing.
They froze on a dead calm night, and you can see the bottom no matter where you are.
Oh, I got to check this out.
It makes me just want to skate you could skate for hours on end.
What news site had it? Star Tribune?
I think it was
CCO. I was watching the 5, actually.
They might have all had it, but I can't remember which station I saw it on.
I'll go to KSTP first.
But it was just crystal clear ice, that gin-colored water beneath it, and it was just amazing. That would be great, too, for ice boating, a sailboat race.
Oh, I've always wanted to do that. I've been told that they have a big meet like that every year on Lake Christina, the big pond, right over by Ashby, Minnesota. I would love to check that out.
An ice boat regatta?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've always meant
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Although that always gives me the elevator stomach when I see it. Because
for some reason I'm susceptible to the elevator stomach, but that doesn't do it for me. I would sit there all day on my knees peering through the ice. I've always meant to look it up. I don't know why I did. Maybe one year I did, but I've forgotten. The most popular form of ice boat, or conventionally, is called a DN, and that stands for Detroit News. And I never bothered to do the research on why a specific form of ice boat got named after the Detroit News. Maybe the Detroit News sponsored a regatta on Lake St. Clair or somewhere near Algonac or something. But
have you ever seen one in use?
I've raced them. Oh, I've used them.
Well, they must get going 80 miles an hour.
The only time I sailed all my life, and the only time I ever flipped one was on the ice.
But
I never flipped one in the water.
Fa-
I never flipped one in the water.
But the speed has to be incredible, far faster than water, right?
Hell, I was going 100.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You just lose control.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and you know that season is so iffy. You can get a beautiful ice freeze on a lake. White Bear still has a little open water in the middle, for example, but kids are skating along shorelines. But you get a dead calm night like tonight, if it got cold enough, and the rest of White Bear froze, you'd have a very iffy opportunity to go ice boating because A, you got to wait till it's thick enough, 5-6 inches. And then B, if you get a snow or a rain or a drizzle, that season's over. So it's a real touch and go if you get a decent ice boating season.
Okay, I'm looking it up. This is from 8 years ago. Jeez.
I think there's famous stories about big ice boats racing trains down the Hudson River.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm. And a very active ice boat racing society at Lake Geneva in Wisconsin.
Is that
Yeah,
the
I'm
one that
seeing that now as I look it up.
is that the one that you covered and never saw anything?
No, that was the snowmobile race.
Oh, okay.
They left in the morning.
We
got on a bus.
Kenny.
Chris,
We
why
got
are
on
you
a
doing
bus.
this?
And then at
Yesterday,
4 o'clock in the afternoon, you watch them come in. Hey, how'd it go out there? Did you take down any mailboxes?
I told you, GLers. I told you.
Oh, I did that just for you,
Yesterday.
Kenny.
Okay, you didn't listen to yesterday's show, did you, Such?
Yes, I did.
Was it yesterday that
Yeah.
you had somebody at the door?
Yes.
While you were gone, John was doing a story about the St. Paul Winter Carnival.
Well, I heard you say that. Yeah, I listened later to the show. I heard you say
And,
that.
yeah, and I brought up the fact that the race used to end in St. Paul, and then Joe does his bit about it's the only event I covered that I didn't see.
Never saw one bit of it.
We could turn your very existence into a drinking game.
Oh, yeah.
Now when Such says this, we all take a swig.
Well, remember, Anna already started that with her Harmony Spirits vodka. She's going to take a swig every time she hears Joe shuffle the papers.
That's right.
What's the lake, Kenny and Alec, upon which there's a great resort? Is it Arrowwood Resort?
Yeah. There's so many over there. Is that Geneva?
No. What lake is that? It's where Jewel
No.
has his boat show.
Yeah, no. I'm
Ida?
asking, is it Lake Geneva? Or
No, it's
hold
not
on.
Geneva.
Is
It's
it
not
Ida?
Geneva.
Hold on, I'm zooming in. Give me a second. Map is slow. Darling.
Yeah. So that was one of the stops. So there I am at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, having driven from Winnipeg, and I'm standing out on the ice while these fruitcakes come zooming by me. You know, somebody's waving a flag, then you go in and drink. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Meanwhile, you're calling them fruitcakes. It's 20 below with an 80 below windshield. They're driving a 1967 pile of crap, carrying extra carburetors in their pocket.
Right.
Good chance the spindle broke, so they're riding on one ski doing 80.
Yeah.
And you're calling them fruitcakes.
Well, they're delightful fruitcakes. How's that?
Lunatics, I think, would be a
Yeah.
better term. Absolutely, completely insane would be even better.
I still remember the morning in Winnipeg when they left, and all it was a cloud of snow. And then somebody said, "Okay, everybody, get on the bus." And that was the last I saw of them until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wait, Such, wait. This might be this weekend on Lake Christina. Sailing 12/12 or 12/13. This was posted December 9th, which is what?
Today.
Lake Christina, 10 a.m. Oh, I'm going to have to look into this.
Every once in a while, you'll see a DN on Craigslist, and I feel like buying one just to have one. They're not expensive.
Oh, we can't put you out on one of those things. If you hit the ice at 40 miles an hour, you'd break into a million pieces.
Yeah,
I've done it before, except I was a lot younger.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I think I was like Jack Nicholson in what was the great Easy Rider. I had a football helmet. I think I wore a football helmet.
Wasn't he wearing like a Saints helmet or something?
No, I
like
think he had
that?
a University of Michigan helmet because They asked him, "You got a helmet?" And Nichols said, "Oh, I got a beauty.
I got a
I got a beauty."
I'm picturing the Dick Butkus style, the one single bar in front of his face. Is that the deal?
Oh yeah.
No, there was no bar. I don't think.
Well, I'm not that old. I had a bar in front of mine. I'm not that old. What do you think? I wore a leather helmet?
Right.
What have I been saying for years? Kelsey reminded me of this. What have I been saying for years during my lecture time at the University of Garage Logic, home of the Fighting Stogies? What have I been saying for years about librarians?
They are on the cutting edge, or they are the leaders of the mystery.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
I've called them the foot soldiers of the mystery, the advanced troops.
Right.
Ivy League librarians are demanding a world without police.
Oh, sure. Let's do it.
A group of librarians at Ivy League institutions is advocating for a world without policing. The group demanded that schools explicitly name policing as the problem while calling for the complete abolition of law enforcement.
My God.
A group of 13 abolitionist librarians from Ivy League universities who call themselves ABLA Ivy Plus, what the hell is that, is demanding that their colleagues immediately begin the work of divesting from police and prisons. The association, this is from Campus Reform. This is right out of the target zone of the failed academy. The Association of Research Libraries released a statement in support of protests against police brutality in June. It called on leaders of libraries and archives to examine our institution's role in sustaining systems of inequity. Right out of that letter that the guy wrote about the Christmas lights.
Right.
The statement demands that material resources are procured and highlighted to chronicle the history of white supremacy, oppression of marginalized peoples, and the laws and policies that create systemic inequities, as well as attention to hiring those who identify as black, indigenous, and people of color. I'm telling you this kind of thinking, and I'm not using hyperbole. To me, these people are mentally ill.
Yep.
And I'm not being facetious. In a more recent statement, Abla Ivy, abolitionists of whatever, claims that while these actions should be applauded, they have not gone far enough. The group wants Ivy League librarians to explicitly name policing itself as the problem and takes actions that will lead to the complete abolition of law enforcement. Let me stop right there. What did I say about the mayor of Duluth? Is it Amy somebody? It's the mayor of Duluth.
I'll look it up.
What did I say when she wanted to prevent the use of the word chief? What did I say?
Emily Larson.
Emily. What's under attack by the mystery is authority itself, in and of itself. Authority is what's under attack. No one should be called chief because that suggests a position of authority. And now police are under attack because police represent authority. It's calling for the abolition of authority is what's taking place. In a more recent statement, ABLA claims that while these actions should be applauded, they have not gone far enough. The group wants Ivy League librarians to explicitly name policing itself as the problem and take actions that will lead to the complete abolition of law enforcement. The solution to police violence is not reform, but an abolition of policing in all its forms. Therefore, we call on the leadership of our institutions and all of our colleagues to embrace an abolitionist vision of a hopeful, life-affirming future and to immediately begin the work of divesting from police and prisons with the ultimate goal of the complete abolition of law enforcement and surveillance from library spaces, campus, communities, in short, everywhere. The first demand calls for Ivy League libraries to sever all relationships, formal and informal, with local police departments as demanded by student and community activist groups. They also want libraries to remove any reliance on law enforcement as a means of addressing conflicts that arise in all library spaces by 2022. The group calls for a complete divestment from law enforcement, policing, and companies that use prison labor, the prohibition of cameras in libraries, and the development of data policies and practices that draw on feminist and decolonial praxis.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Citing a claim that 73% of traffic stops by the University of Chicago Police Department were black individuals, Abla Ivy claimed that law enforcement officers do not keep campuses safe. Because of this, the group wants to join, build, and sustain a world without policing. We demand that our university and college libraries formally endorse these demands and stand in support with these groups toward a police-free future, the statement says. In the statement's conclusion, the Ivy League librarians take responsibility for the privilege and power they hold. We recognize that librarianship, an overwhelmingly white profession, has systematically marginalized BIPOC and LGBTQIA, and librarians with disabilities. Jesus H. Christ, I'm praying.
Yes, you are.
Reckoning with our own histories of and complicity in white supremacy and anti-black racism is the best interest not only of our institutions and patrons, but our profession at large. More than 700 individuals and organizations have signed the petition to stand in solidarity with the movement.
Wow.
We are in so much trouble.
If these libraries crave genuine examples of ideological suppression, racial division, and white supremacy, I suggest they refer to their history sections on 20th century Europe. Jack Capizzi told Campus Reform. He's a University of Chicago student. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot make it any clearer to you that, boy, I'm up to about 90% of everything that affects us, 90% of everything that's causing our culture to degrade is coming out of this failed academy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the root of all. It's the root of all Mysterian wishes and novelties is coming out of the failed academy.
And that's why you need to go to trainingndt.com.
Right.
The opposite of the failed academy.
The exact opposite.
But wouldn't you think or hope at least that 90% of the people that read that would just laugh it off as it being absurd like we are? Or is this something that people are going, they have a really good point?
In the failed academy, they're going, they have a real good point. 700 people have signed the petition.
Kenny, I used to think that same way, but after what we experienced over this summer and just, consuming all of this, I think we're getting closer to a 50-50 nation here with that line of thinking. I mean, honest to God, if you were the leftiest lefty of all, how can you possibly think that you would be safe with no police?
Yeah, and to back that up, Chris, to back you up, just take a look at all the people in Minneapolis that support defunding the police. Take a look at that absurd letter to the guy that hung a few ding-ding Christmas lights in front of his house.
I still say that's fake, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like that's the direction the country's headed.
I hate to sidetrack us here because I know you really wanted to expand on this, Joe, but you mentioned the Christmas letter a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got a guy on hold here.
Really?
That claims he wrote it.
Oh, it's rookie. Give me a break.
It's not rookie.
Come on, we're in the middle of something good here. I'm not going to break it for that dumb.
I promise it's not rookie.
You sure?
It's first of all, it sounds nothing like him because Rookie can only do two different voices.
Josh Arnold.
Right.
Well, put him on. Let's see what the fellow has to say.
Is Jerry? Was that your name?
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Do you care to give us your last name?
Rook?
My dad told me to call you.
Oh yeah. Why's
Jerry
that?
Levander.
What?
You say he's talking about my letter that we wrote. He said you guys were talking about it, and I should call you.
The letter you wrote to a family in St. Anthony, you were criticizing their Christmas display.
Yeah, where'd you read it? Where'd you see it?
Well, it's been all over the news sites, Jerry. It's
Wow, really? Like
Yes.
the Star Tribune wrote it?
I don't know
Back.
if it's been on the Drudge
Newspaper?
Report. It's been on the Daily Mail in England. It's been on the.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah, that is awesome. I thought maybe we'd get a write up in the press. Like that's why he told me to call you. Like he wrote about it. That's so great.
What? Why?
What?
So you did it as a prank, Jerry?
Yeah. Oh man, this is like 6 months worth of planning, man. It worked out, man.
I knew it. I knew this was fake. I knew it.
Yeah, well, it all started back when they were ripping statues down, and what that culture they were saying, what do they call that?
Cancel culture?
Cancel, yeah, they call it that. And we were like, man, you know what? They're going to cancel Christmas. And then we were like talking to each other. We were having beers at Bobby's garage. And then we talked about that for, 2 weeks in a row. And then, whatever, it took a while because we would write it down, right, what we were thinking, like how it would work. And I said, let's cancel Christmas. And just make something up about canceling Christmas.
This is a bit, you guys. This is a bit. I'm not buying this.
No, Jerry, what's your last name?
This is one of your
Valander.
buddies.
Valander?
Yeah.
Do you live in St.
My dad is Terry. He comes and sees you at the state fair. Well, when he used to be at the booth in the AM.
Right.
Yeah, he'd always come and get your signature on his shirt. He's got like 13 or 14 of them, man.
Well, that sounds right.
Jerry, do you live in St. Anthony?
No, I don't. My buddy Dave does. And what we did, it's so funny because he came up with the idea to put it on a house with like one string of light. Not even a big house with like a lot of lights. Because he drive by like 50, 100 houses with all these big displays, but we sent it to the one that just had like a string up out by him.
Oh, you guys had some fun, didn't you, man?
Jerry, do you realize how many people you've angered? I mean, half the world is talking about this, and there's steam coming out of their ears. They're really upset.
I wish I could make money on it like that. I don't know how you can. But
where did you get all the language you use? Because it's just perfect. Everyone was a cliche.
Twitter. We took it off Twitter. The one that I love was the systematic basis against our neighbors who don't celebrate Christmas.
This is fantastic.
I found it, and that was I don't know, they were talking about something else within the tweet, and I just put Christmas instead of whatever they were talking about. But yeah, it was a lot of fun putting the letter together. That's for sure.
Did you bet yourselves that it would make the news?
No, well, we did. So that's the thing. We got to figure out where it got first because I said it's going to be in the Star Tribune paper, they're going to print it, And so that's what and we had to be specific about where we would, because it's just not you see the internet, everything's on the internet.
Well, so Jerry, I can tell you
who's going to win.
I can tell you what happened, Jerry. The family that received it turned it over to Minneapolis Crime Watch, and that's how it became public.
Oh, man. I'm glad I didn't send it myself. I just wrote it, I got no mail fraud or nothing like that, you know what I mean?
No, I know. I don't think you've committed a crime. You've just caused a lot of uproar, which caused me yesterday to believe that this couldn't possibly be real, that it had to be a prank by a bunch of guys drinking beer and saying to each other, watch what happens when we mail this out.
Well, we must demand better for ourselves.
This is fantastic. It'll probably make world news, Jerry. This podcast has quite a few listeners. I bet it'll be reported now that you're the author of that, or you were part of a group that authored it.
No, don't put me in there unless I can make money or something. If I could make money on it, that'd be a good thing. But I don't want to get egged or nothing,
No, I know.
People do that.
I think that Crime Watch site, Joe, I think they listen to your show. At least people close to them do, so they're probably hearing this.
Jerry Linder.
My last name is Peterson.
That's right. That's what he said.
And you're from Chugluck, Alaska, aren't you?
Never been there.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you.
Come on.
He's trying to help you out, kid.
Hello?
Jerry?
Yeah, I'm here.
Now that you've had such success with this, is this something you'll try in the future?
I don't know. You know, again, we used to make calls. Like, we'd call, the neighbor lady and ask if her refrigerator's running, and we do stuff like that. Same group of guys, and now we can't do it with the caller IDs, and people don't even have home phones. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with something.
Well, you upped your game with this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I wish you could make money on this, so we tried to figure out how we could, but it's still good.
I don't know what to tell you about that, but I can tell you that your prank letter made it all around the world on news sites.
All right, well, I'm going to call Dave now. Let him
Okay.
know.
Call Dave.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, I'm personally relieved because I was the one yesterday who predicted that letter couldn't possibly have been real.
All right, yeah. Well, do you win anything?
No, there's
Anything out of the deal?
there's no money involved. I get the warmest personal regards from my staff.
There we go.
Podcasts don't pay, Jerry.
Yeah.
Podcasts don't pay. Yeah.
Oh,
This is so great. I knew this couldn't be real. I knew it had to be some guys who did this on purpose.
it's funny stuff when people, take it to the extremes, right?
Yep,
Cancel everything.
Right.
System biases, our neighbors who don't celebrate Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that we keep everybody in check.
Yeah. Oh, man, you guys had some fun. I appreciate it. I thought it was a great prank.
Yeah.
Now that I know it's a prank.
See you later.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys owe me a little.
Did he hang
woot,
up on
woot.
us?
You guys owe me a little woot woot.
Yeah, you.
All I can say is I know that wasn't Rook, but this.
I don't know who it was. It was this guy.
I don't know what's real and what's not anymore.
Well-
I'm just floating through life, just completely confused.
I thought that was fantastic to learn the truth there.
He does have some good points. You can get all that language right off of Twitter.
Got it off Twitter. They were talking about something, but we just took that out and put Christmas in.
You know what that does? That just gives me hope. You know what I'm saying?
I think
that
so.
there are still guys out there sitting around in their garage having some beers saying,
normal
I got
people.
an idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
normal
it's just
people
wonderful.
having fun.
Just wonderful. Say thank you, GLers. We've sent a spare key, $1,000. And also, I want to tip the hat to Corey at the Minnesotan, Dave at DK Mags for help in selling the pushback yard signs, and also Tim at EcoFund. Tim made a separate donation of $2,000 to Spare Key.
Fantastic.
His donation was above the $100 per bike commitment that he originally committed to. Eric Mishi is extremely, extremely appreciative of your support, Tim Bloom. Right now at EcoFund Motorsports in downtown Forest Lake, from now until Christmas, they're offering all GLers an additional $200 off the year-end sale prices of all Bintelli scooters and e-bikes in stock. Popstar and Rockstar 750W Fat Tire electric bikes at the lowest price ever of $12.99. That is a hell of a price. Mention GL, they'll throw you a Garage Logic podcast sticker while their supply lasts. Don't worry about your supply, Tim. I'll get you some more podcast stickers. Great Yamaha clothing on sale, 20% off through Christmas. And yes, as of yesterday, there were still a few spots left for scooter or electric bike storage. Clothing and apparel, great service department, great recreational equipment for young people, including youth snowmobiles and ATVs. What a destination for your Christmas shopping, and what a sale now for GLers. He really appreciates the GLers who have patronized EcoFund Motorsports. It's right downtown Forest Lake, and where else would it be? Of course, it's right on Highway 61, EcoFund Motorsports.
This is Patrick Ricey for the Canopy Group. You have heard me share why I recommend the Canopy Group for your insurance needs. Take a listen to a satisfied Canopy Group customer.
Hi, this is Dory Hansen-Schlins in Maple Grove. My husband Roger and I just want to say thank you. We've been a Westfield or Canopy Group customer now. I think this is our the end of our first year. Just paid my insurance premium. You guys are so good. Your service is great. But really, you run things so well. I'm just very happy that we found you. So it's just a big thank you.
To be like Dory and have the Canopy Group shop their 16 different options, getting you the best option for your needs, contact the Canopy Group at 800-967-3389 or go online to thecanopygroup.com.
This next song is about Kenny Olson. If he's here, jump up and down.
You
Everybody
cannot stop
pogo.
him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
If I remember right, it was about 99 degrees outside the night that this was recorded back in the 90s, and about, 200 degrees in the caboose. It was a fun night, but today it's a new day, and that means new beer. It's that time of year once again. The Beer Advent calendar is out. For you, or if you must, you can give it away to a loved one for Christmas. Of course, if you're going to send me anything, don't send beer. Send coffee, and make sure it's from thecoffeegrounds.com. Eric and Julie over in Eau Claire at the Coffee Grounds, of course, like everybody else, have taken a good solid beating due to COVID. But the great thing that might help them get by is they can deliver Christmas coffee right to your front door or the door of a loved one, no matter where you or they are, anywhere. And we're talking the best beans here now. These aren't cheapskate beans. They're sourced from families all over and from farms in Costa Bleeping Rica, Central America, families that they've been doing business with for years and years and years, long-established relationships. And the coffeegrounds.com, what I like about them, their blends give us a wider variety than a lot of the shops you're wandering into these days. And if I can just big up GL for a second, we've got our own blends at thecoffeegrounds.com. There's the Spoon Lake blend. That's a middle-of-the-day deal. The GL blend, also middle-of-the-day, nice cup of coffee. If you get up at 4 in the morning and you need an instant kick to the pants, may I please recommend to you the high-octane, hair-standing-on-end Krabby Coffee Shop blend. That'll get it done and get it done right away. Or if you go the other way, decaffeinated, it's pretty good. I've sampled it. It's the Johnny Height Guitar blend. And like I said, all delivered right to your house. If you're passing by Eau Claire, oh my goodness, get off the freeway, get in there. It's a full-service down-home restaurant, a craft brewery right there, stogies, meats, cheeses, all sorts of goodies. We'd really love it if you could help Eric and Julie out and survive this stupid pandemic. And you know what? Don't forget about the Beer Advent calendar. Guys like Reavers, you guys like your beer. The Coffee Grounds just north of 94 on Southtown Drive in Eau Claire, on the World Wide Web at thecoffeegrounds.com.
Where were we before we...
5960.
That's right. Oh, you were talking about...
Ivy League.
There we go. Yep.
Ivy League librarians calling for the abolition of police and prisons. Well... Also from Campus Reform is a survey.
What if Jerry actually wrote the librarian bit and circulated the librarian?
He lifted all his words out of Twitter.
That's so brilliant.
Well, that's why this librarian thing is so absurd. It's just complete nonsense.
Of course it is. But it's the failed academy. They specialize in complete nonsense. Here's a new survey from the Campus Reform. Young Americans trust colleges more than police, military, and the church.
Ooh.
As some professors have encouraged rioting, young Americans are more likely to trust colleges and universities. The poll found that just 38% of young Americans trust police as anti-police riots have erupted nationwide. A new survey finds that young Americans trust college professors more than the military, police, and churches.
My God.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is where we are, folks. YouGov conducted a survey of 147 young Americans ages 18 to 29 from May 29 to 30. The broader survey interviewed 1,060 U.S. adults and grouped them in age with groups of 18 to 29, 30 to 44, 45 to 64, and 65 plus. The respondents were asked to rate their trust in key American institutions on an ascending scale of none, a little, some, and a great deal. Campus Reform reported on a similar survey in 2019. When asked how much they trust the police, 38% of young adults ages 18 to 29 said they hold some or a great deal of trust in the institution, nearly a 30% decrease from 2019. Meanwhile, 58% hold some or a great deal of trust in the U.S. military. In 2019, that number was 70%. The 2020 survey found that nearly 1 in 4 Americans have no trust whatsoever in the military or police. Just over 3/4 of young adults between the ages of 18 to 29 admitted some level of trust in church or organized religion, the majority of that number, 31%, expressing only a little trust. The 2019 survey found that 50% of young Americans between 18 and 29 expressed at least some level of trust in religious leaders. The YouGov survey found, and here's where we're crashing. The YouGov survey found that young Americans hold the highest amount of trust in college professors and universities, with 65% reporting either some or a great deal of trust in colleges and universities. In 2019, 74% of 18 to 29-year-olds trusted college professors and universities. Comparing the 2 years, 2020 found about a 10% decrease of young Americans reporting trust in higher education. The survey was conducted at the height of the nationwide riots in which demonstrators called to defund the police. As Campus Reform reported, some professors have defended rioters while others have even encouraged it. Minneapolis, of course, since May has become the
leader in the nation,
nerve center of the defund the police movement. Today, a vote will be taken to diminish the police budget. And even as Fry threatens a veto, Lisa Bender scoffs at it.
At his veto power?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Minneapolis City Council President Lisa Bender is firing back after Mayor Jacob Fry said he was actively considering a veto of the city's 2021 budget due to the reduction in police staffing. Fry would only veto the entire budget. A line-item veto is not an option, in the statement posted on Twitter. Bender said it is difficult to take his threat seriously. If the mayor vetoes it, he will trigger a $20 million budget cut that will affect every city department next year, while we are still responding to a pandemic, rebuilding public safety, and facing multi-million-dollar lawsuits related to police violence, said Bender. Because in Bender's world, the police are at fault. She might as well be an Ivy League librarian. Monday night, the Minneapolis Police Budget Committee approved the Safety for All plan. That plan moved $7.7 million from the Minneapolis Police Department's budget to fund alternative public safety strategies, such as mental health crisis teams, violence prevention, and redirect some non-emergency calls to other departments. The plan would also decrease the amount of sworn police officers to 750 in 2022.
Which is less than we actually have walking around, driving around right now.
Well, doesn't that violate the city's charter, which in effect is the city's constitution? There is a mathematical formula for how many police officers there must be based on population. I don't know how they can do this.
Yeah, well, charters and constitutions don't matter to these people, not one bit.
Following the plan's approval, the mayor called the reduction in staffing irresponsible and threatened a possible veto. In response, Bender said planning for 888 officers in 2022 is completely unrealistic. She is anti-police, and she is helping to drive Minneapolis into the ground and become a dreadful, dreadful place to try to live and do business.
I've got news for you. It already is. And to make it worse, she's leaving. So she's going to push this down our throats, and then she's leaving to go to Duluth and destroy that city further.
You're right, Kenny.
So
she's got nothing to lose. She's got no skin in the game.
No, her legacy is going to be the destruction of Minneapolis as we know it.
And speaking of that, I was going to bring this up the other day.
Why don't I finish this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then you can. Then you can. The realistic budget the City Council has drafted is based on the actual current staffing of MPD after years of attrition and an exodus of officers since the killing of George Floyd and the burning of the 3rd Precinct, said Bender. If the mayor has a real plan to hire 150 more officers in 2022, he could simply propose that in next year's budget, along with the taxes needed to pay for it. The council is expected to vote on the budget tonight, Wednesday, December 9th. And if you think that you're being fairly represented, I can't provide you any more counsel. It's a shame.
And when bad things happen to you and grief and destruction visits your home, you're going to have nobody to call.
No. You already
You're on
don't
your
have
own.
anybody to call.
You are on your own.
You know what people like Fry and many of these city council people bring to the table? Only their own thoughts from the failed academy. In other words, Fry's not from here. He doesn't know the roots and traditions of the city. And we've had a history of people that just travel around the country and establish residency and then run for office,
yep.
get elected, and they have no knowledge of the threat of life that we've all experienced as native Minnesotans. They have no knowledge of how we feel about things. They only want to impose on us their woke glimpses of what they believe to be their virtue. And it's a crying shame, man. It's a shame.
And speaking of that, I when I was looking up the mayor of Duluth, it's her resume is the same as Bender and Fry's. They're the exact same resume. She's done virtually nothing.
Give it to me. Do you have it in front of you still?
I don't. Give me 1 second. I will.
Is she a native Duluth woman?
No, she's from St. Paul, actually.
Oh.
And Such, what do you think his motives are for, I hate to get down on him because he says he's going to veto it, and it seems like he's on the side of right this time, but I'm wondering what his motives are for vetoing it. Is it because he truly does care and truly knows that we need more police, or is it political based?
Let me try to help you out here. I think, honestly, Kenny, he's getting a lot of heat from a lot of Minneapolis business owners.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. That's what I think it is.
Here's the resume from Emily Larson, the Duluth, Minnesota mayor. She was born and raised in St. Paul, the youngest of 3 children. Okay, great. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in social work from St. Scholastica.
You can't flunk that. That's a kind of a major you can't flunk.
And then a master's degree from UMD, a graduate of the Intermedia Arts Creative Community Leadership Institute. Larson served on the advisory committee that developed the Duluth Energy Efficiency Program. Oh, nice. She has worked in Duluth for CHUM, a charity assisting homeless people and people at high risk for homelessness, and as a consultant to other nonprofit organizations. And she also owns a small business that specializes in helping nonprofits.
In other words, she's never worked.
She's an activist. She's a career activist.
Her jobs are without consequence.
Right.
Even her business sounds like BS.
Mm-hmm. So here's the question I was going to ask you in the middle of your story, Joe. It's been 162 days since Memorial Day, okay?
Okay.
Obviously, it was the weekend after Memorial Day when we started to burn the city to the ground, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I took a different route home yesterday.
You usually do.
Yeah. It still looks like the weekend after Memorial Day in parts of Minneapolis.
I know. Yeah. I did the same drive a month ago. I drove the length of Lake Street from the Mississippi River to Lake Calhoun.
Here was I screamed this out loud inside my car. Let's go here. What are we doing?
No. We got to get Andy, who works for Bolander, or some of these other construction guys on so they can give us the true background of the cleanup process and the hoops that they have to go through and how the city is slowing down the cleanup and the removal of these buildings. And the city's involved 100% in what a disaster.
Because here was my suspicion, Kenny. I'm wondering if the likes of Andy from Bolander and these other, they don't want to go downtown because they're afraid. Or not afraid, that's the wrong word.
I can't speak for them, but I know there's reasons. and we need to actually talk to somebody.
It's
because
long.
it's not as uncomplicated as just let's get a guy out here and clean this mess up. It's not that easy.
It's long been a virtue of America that we tidy up after ourselves and quickly. I watched that documentary. I finally got around to it last night called Rebuilding Paradise, a Ron Howard film about the devastating camp fire that struck Paradise, California in 2018. And basically, it's a documentary about the rebuilding efforts and people getting their building permits and how happy they were to begin construction again and bringing in concrete and lumber and throwing up houses. And many people are expected never to return to Paradise, California, but many people are digging in and saying, this is where I've lived and this is where I've been born and raised and I'm staying. And they're building like crazy. They're building like crazy to try and bring that town back. That's an American hallmark, is to rebuild after disaster. Much of Lake Street has been tidied up, but much of Lake Street still shows wrecked piles of rubble and buildings.
Yeah, and I apologize if it wasn't Andy, but somebody was talking to me about this very subject off the air via email about a month or two ago, and telling me all the obstacles and hoops and how hard the city is making it to clean up this mess. And along those lines, you got to take your hats off to the guys at Chicago Lake Liquor. That place was destroyed, and they're back open.
They're open again.
Yeah. So good news for those fellas.
Let me try to expand this thought I'm having about Fry as an outsider. I mean, we've had outsiders. George Latimer was an outsider, but a great mayor of New York. Norm Coleman was an outsider, but I think a very good mayor of St. Paul. But Latimer had an affinity for the people of St. Paul. He knew the people of St. Paul. He lived in a neighborhood in St. Paul. Same with Norm Coleman. Now, I'll just take Fry and let me see if I can figure out the differences. He's just a young activist. I believe he has a law degree, and he's living in one of the woke condominiums downtown. And when he sees the city, I don't think he sees a city crumbling. I think he is answerable only to the salon. Yeah. And it's the salon that's approving of diminishing police forces and eliminating bail and allowing people who destroy statues to only serve 100 hours of community service. He answers to the salon around the country. His buddies are salon dwellers. They're not the guy living in your neighborhood, Kenny, that he knows. It's not the guy in your... It's an example of the politicians, the political class, leading that life on an independent rail than the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have enough of his soul invested in Minneapolis to appreciate its decline, because his soul is dedicated to other salon dwellers. It's almost a Harry Potter thing. He'd have to break through an invisible wall, come out the other side, and be part of the city. He's not part of the city. Not even remotely close.
I don't get that reference. I'm not a nerd like you are.
Well, isn't the whole point of the Harry Potter novels is that he goes through an invisible door and he's in some school or something? I don't know.
Idea there, nerd. I do know that he's seen... I know he's seen what's happened with Wheeler out in Portland and how no matter what Wheeler does, it's the wrong thing. And that's why I'm wondering what his motives are for... all of a sudden coming out with this veto thing that he knows is going to get over.
What was there was an update on him, by the way, yesterday. I'll try to find it. That was
he's cracking down. He's tired of the occupied forces.
Right, only because it's outside of his own building where he lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got another autonomous zone starting.
Here we go. 15 hours ago, he tweeted the following: I am authorizing the Portland police to use all lawful means to end the illegal occupation of North Mississippi Avenue and to hold those violating our community laws accountable. And someone had retweeted and said, oh, wow, this is such great news, and June 15th or whatever. That's how I saw it yesterday. It was very funny.
Yeah, so but you're right, Such, about our guy Fry.
And Melvin Carter is a St. Paul raised kid, and his dad was a cop.
Right.
You'd think he'd have a different view of life, but he's wholly embraced the salon. thoroughly embrace the salon. And I have good friends who pay attention to politics in St. Paul who swear to me that he's either being groomed or believes he's grooming himself for higher office, maybe McCollum's seat to start in the 4th Congressional District. Because he's essentially been a vacant mayor, except to cut a ribbon on a new bike path. He's not much around. We don't know what he's doing.
How can letting your city go to hell be grooming for a higher office?
Because you're only grooming yourself for acceptance by the salon, not the American people. And the salon would be approving of his guaranteed income programs. The salon would be approving of his public transit ideas. The salon would be approving of his no fines in the library. The salon would be approving of all these other schemes he comes up with because his only allegiance is to the salon. It's the salon who would carry him, promote him, husband him, take care of him, not me and you.
Right.
That's where we are. The closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, is we have managed to elect a political class that is emotionally and intellectually detached from the people actually paying the bills.
So let's say they do vote in that favor. What happens next? I mean, if you're a Fratelloni's Ace Hardware, if you're an Elevated Beer, Wine, and Spirits, aren't you essentially saying, well, that's it, I'm out?
Well, out based on what?
How can you possibly do business in that city if they choose to go down this path?
Well, you're seeing an exodus already.
But this would be the final nail in the coffin, though, wouldn't it, Joe?
Yeah, if this succeeds and you're going to reduce the number of sworn law officers on the street and you're going to cut their budget, I can't imagine crime will decrease. So therefore,